Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars Black Series Obi-Wan Kenobi from Revenge of the Sith. This is the single card version, obviously, as you're seeing. Number 4 in the Revenge of the Sith line, which is kind of crazy. There are only 5 ends. 5. Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's 4, Anakin's 5. Makes sense. And yes, the boxes do all connect, and oddly enough, I do have Gale as well, but I just haven't reviewed him. There's the back of the box. Though I don't think you need a bio on Obi-Wan. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is him, and he is really, really nice looking. Very, very nice design with really no notes. It's perfect. The only thing I kind of find is I don't like the robe color as much as I thought I would. It seems a little like... It feels like it needs a tingy yellow. It feels kind of more gray than yellow, which is odd. It's not anything big, but it's kind of weirdly... It's like a little small little nitpick I have, really. That's it. It's just a small nitpick. But other than that, this thing's almost flawless, genuinely. The look is great. That head sculpt is very, very nice looking at that. Got the nice face tech, and it does look a lot more like Ewan McGregor than the Anakin looked like Hayden Christensen, in my opinion. Looking at that, there's Hayden Christensen, Anakin. I just don't find that looks like him as much as this looks like Ewan McGregor, but I feel like they usually catch Ewan McGregor. Here's the last Obi-Wan release from earlier in the year, which is the reissue of the Clone Wars Obi-Wan, and that face looks pretty solid, if I'm being honest. That one looks pretty close to Ewan McGregor, though a bit pale. Still looks pretty good, though. But overall, very nice. The detailing is good. They have this nice little bit of brown up here. The belt is very nice. And that is the only time I think that brown's used on the entire figure. Very nice paint apps at the front of the belt with these little parts there. And then the buckle, the side. There's not really much going on here. They're just brown molded plastic. Bit of bleed going on, but that's okay. Nice nougat pants, and then these maroon red boots, which have always been a weird part of Obi-Wan's design from the Clone Wars, but I've always loved it. It's just like it feels so off from the rest of them. Like, you know, I feel like they would have just went with the generic brown boots. Nah, he said maroon and nougat. That's what I'm going with for the pants and the boots. That's the fit. And, I mean, it's a pretty good fit. It's really, really nice. And, I mean, overall, the design looks great, and it's very, very good. He does come, however, with only one accessory. As I mentioned in the Anakin review, the Comic-Con version comes with a buttload more accessories. Alternate hands, an alternate head, blade swooshy effects. Here you get, of course, his lightsaber. That's it. That's the only thing you're going to get, and I just got silver Sharpie all up the front of him, which I was scared of doing, but I did it. So, why is there silver Sharpie involved, you might be asking? The answer to that equation is, out of the box, the top part of the blade of the hilt is black, which is incorrect. Very incorrect. It is meant to be silver. This is the last Obi-Wan's blade. Don't mind the curve. It's silver. It is a silver top, but on this release, it was black. Also, yes, it's a new Obi-Wan saber. That was very needed. This one sucks. It cannot be held. Both figures I have with this hilt cannot hold it. They just can't. It falls out of their hand every time. Unless you have the two hands on, even then that's iffy. This was a much needed update to just make the hilt a lot more wieldable than the last one. At least this one can be held one-handed. It's very good. It's awesome. And of course, this Obi-Wan can actually do the pose, which the last two I have cannot. We'll do it. Don't worry. But the blade's very nice, though. The Sharpie issue here is, well, it's coming off on my fingers every time I touch the part, which sucks. Of course, the blade is removable, though scary, because I've seen a lot of reports of this thing breaking on Reddit, which spooks me a little bit. But it could be worse, because the last one has one of the easiest to remove blades possible, in my opinion. Like, I feel like it falls out a lot. It's not horrid, but, you know, I think the tighter version's a little bit better. And the hilt, of course, can be stored on Obi-Wan's hip. On the left side, there is a peg there for it, which goes on very nicely. But he's not the only one who can wield that saber. Commander Cody. Yes, the 20th anniversary Commander Cody is very cool. Ironically, I'm just going to mention this now, I overpaid a ton on this guy. I went to not my local Walmart, the one that's farthest away. They had 5 of him for clearance prices sitting on a rack. I could not return this one, which is unfortunate. Yes, the second I bought him, of course he shows up. I knew it was going to happen, but it's whatever. Anyway, this Commander Cody, not only looking really great next to Obi-Wan, actually has one feature I mentioned in that review, which is this port on his belt, which, as I tried with the other hilt I mentioned, it doesn't fit very well and it's too loose. This one, however, is perfect. Yes, he can do the thing of having Obi-Wan's lightsaber on his belt, as if he was handing him the lightsaber after he dropped it fighting Grievous. That's awesome. And then he proceeds to shoot him down because Order 66 happens like mere moments later. But pretty good. It's very nice figure continuity. It's super cool to put that little tiny thing in there on Commander Cody. They didn't have to do that. They didn't, but they did. And it's a cool thing that they did. It's very cool that they actually had the foresight to be like, you know what? Let's give Commander Cody a peg to be able to hold the lightsaber of Obi-Wan. That's just a great foresight. And of course, Obi-Wan can hold this saber really well. And as I mentioned, he can wield it two-handed now pretty easily, except for the fact that his hands don't want to open. There we go. Don't mind the silver. Again, it's going to just keep coming off entirely throughout the review. But it's nice that he can wield it with two hands without any major issues this time. It's very good. And of course, you can do the pose, which has been a staggeringly weird issue with the two I own for Obi-Wan, not being able to do the pose. The pose being, of course, this is like the most scuffed variation of it possible, but this is probably the closest we have gotten out of any of the Black Series figures thus far. Honestly, the silver is coming off at rapid rates, and it's really bothering me now. But yes, it's not perfect, but you can semi-do his fighting pose, which very, very good, very cool, gotta love it, and it's very nice. And overall, it's just a great time to have a Obi-Wan with the ability to do that. But that's not it. We obviously have articulation, and this guy has amazing articulation. Ball-jointed head, which has great range forward and back at the arms, outward, butterfly joints at the shoulders, elbows, swivels, ball-jointed wrists, but in multiple positions. Now, this is the big thing. They gave him the ball-jointed wrists like Anakin. The double dumbbell. Plus, there's a ball joint at the lower part of the arm in there, which allows for a little bit more range. The waist articulation is pretty impeccable. He does have a good amount of range there. Forward, back, outwards good. Knee joint is great. Does not have the thigh cut, again, which I hate that they got rid of because these things would be wicked if they had them. It does have the knee swivel, though, and the boot swivel. Up and down, and of course ankle tilt. So everything is there for posing. Every bit of it is there. There's no issues with the posing. I think it's phenomenal, honestly. And honestly, that pretty much wraps up the review for Obi-Wan. Other than I have to show this before we get into pictures, which is the robe for Master Soul. Because, as I mentioned in the Anakin review, I kind of wish they had included these with the single cards, because it would have been nice to have a little bit of a difference. Now, this Obi-Wan, in my opinion, looks so complete with the robe on. There's just something. It just adds something to the figure, having this robe. I don't know what it is. It just adds something to him. And it might be because he does have the robe on throughout a good chunk of the movie. And I kind of thought about it. The only times he doesn't have it on is in fight scenes. Other than that, he has this robe on. Like, at all times. He has it on in a lot of the iconic scenes, including standing at the top of the ramp. I love that. It's such a funny image for some reason. He's just standing there like he knows he's rage-baiting Anakin. He's just rage-baiting him. It's so funny. But man, does he look good. I didn't find Anakin looked as good in his robe, but I think it's because I don't see Anakin in a robe as much as Obi-Wan. I think that's what that is, genuinely. Is I just think that Obi-Wan just looks a lot better with the robe because I'm more used to him being in the robe. But it's a very cool look. But let's just get to the final thoughts here on Obi-Wan, and that is, this thing's great. Similar to the Anakin, it's perfect. The figure's perfect. The only thing, accessories. Again, I'm not expecting to get all of the parts. I'm not asking for every single part from the SDC set, or I don't even know if it's SDC or New York Comic-Con. I'm not sure which one it is, but nonetheless, it feels a little wrong to, not get something. Like, I'm fine with not getting the head sculpt, I'm not gonna lie. It's the hands that kind of suck. I wish we could get some other parts. And that is probably one of Black Series' biggest things, as I mentioned in that Anakin video, that they're really missing lately, is they just don't have accessories. They don't have alternate hands, they don't have this. We have Jedi with blaster hands for some reason, and it's utterly stupid, in my opinion. Now, of course, there's going to be some pictures showing, and one of them is going to involve a certain General Grievous, because I love General Grievous, and of course we got to have him fighting Obi-Wan. That's the signature. But, this Obi-Wan is great. And man, this robe just adds to him tenfold. I don't know what it is. This robe just makes him so much better, in my opinion. It just makes him way cooler looking. I don't know what it is. I just like the robe edition that I made to him. But, yeah, as a figure, he's a must-get, honestly. And you're not going to not get Anakin and Obi-Wan. I feel like this is probably the most sought-after wave they've released in a while, because, again, you put these two in it. These two figures, they're both sold out on Amazon. That's how you know how a wave is good, is if it's sold out on Amazon. Usually there's one figure, but for the most part, these two were gone for a bit. I pre-ordered them, and it took them a while to ship, because for some reason, I just didn't get them right away. Thanks, Amazon. I had to cancel Obi-Wan and reorder him, and then Pure later got a hold of him, and he took 8 years to get here. But overall, I think these are great figures, and I couldn't recommend them enough. They're both 5 out of 5, in my opinion. The accessory nitpick does not stand. It is a nitpick, though it is an actual problem. But the figures themselves are 5 out of 5. And that's really it. Although you might have noticed the background's different. I changed it back to white because the lighting's just better. It really is. I thought the black was going to be, a little better, but I found everything looked a little too dark. I think the white just brings the figures out a lot better. But that is essentially it for this review. This has been ILT Delete, signing out.